When it comes to foliar diseases in wheat, about the worst one you can get is stripe rust. We're going to talk about stripe rust and how to keep it off of your farm today.
Well, the only good news here is stripe rust is a fungal disease. With fungal diseases, we can use fungicides and generally get them under control. The only thing that we always caution you about with fungicides is, well, I guess two things really. Number one, you've got to be preventative. You have to be early. If you already see the disease, you are too late. You've already lost a bunch of yield. And number two, with fungicides, just keep in mind they don't move well in the plant. It's not like fungicides are systemic like certain herbicides are. Fungicides are basically going to stay where you put them. So if you don't get every leaf on the plant covered, well, the leaves that aren't covered are unprotected. And keep in mind that any new growth that comes out after you spray is also unprotected. So you may have to make multiple applications for diseases like stripe rust.
When stripe rust first started to become a big problem in the United States, we were told, well, it's not going to overwinter in the north, so it really has to blow up every year. Now, in some areas, that's held true to form. In the Dakotas, for example, we don't normally see stripe rust until later in the season, generally around flag leaf time or later, but it could be a little earlier depending on the year. But in other areas that have a milder climate, whether it's the Pacific Northwest or the central states in the United States, we have seen some stripe rust overwintering. So we do want to really watch for this early season to make sure we aren't seeing a problem out there. We want to get ahead of it. As Brian mentioned, we aren't very good at curative disease control, but we are pretty good with preventative treatments. So don't fall prey to, well, it's got to blow up. It's never been in my area before. Still get out there and scout early in the season to make sure that stripe rust isn't getting a foothold in your fields.
The big problem with stripe rust is it takes a lot of yield. There's common rust also. There are many different types of rust, but common rust we've sprayed for years in wheat and we gain a little bit of yield. But with stripe rust, many times we're gaining 15 bushels, maybe 20 bushels, so it's a huge thing. The two big questions I get from people are, number one, when exactly should I spray? And number two, which fungicide should I use?
Well, the other one, Brian, is which variety of wheat should I plant? And there are some differences in terms of tolerance or even resistance with some varieties. Here's the problem though, stripe rust really adapts pretty quickly. So varieties that a few years ago we thought, yep, that's a great one, we don't see much stripe rust in that, it's getting infected now. So it may change over the years. Stay in touch with what research is being done in your area on farms and in university trials to find the best variety first.
In terms of when to spray, it's going to vary depending on the year. What we care about most is that we're spraying before we see the disease, like I said earlier. So you just kind of have to look at, in your general area, when is this disease showing up? What we've tried to do on our farm is we're just spraying automatically at 3 timings, at herbicide timing, at flag leaf, and then again at heading. And if I spray at all 3 timings, I don't have a lot of worry.
In terms of which fungicides to use for preventative control for stripe rust protection, the best ones have got multiple modes of action. We've really had good luck with Trivapro, with Stratego, with Preaxor. They've all been highly effective. Or you could even mix your own, but I would strongly encourage you, don't run with a single mode of action. We're very concerned about resistance with this disease, and we're also concerned about getting long-lasting control, and putting multiple modes of action out there is the best way to do that.
Well, once again, stripe rust is one of the worst diseases you can get in wheat. I don't know exactly when you're going to have to spray because it can show up at any time during the year. It's possible this disease might be able to overwinter in your area, which would mean you'd have to spray earlier than I might necessarily on my farm. When I can usually get by with some of the later applications, you might have to go early and late. Again, remember that fungicides don't last long in the plant. They don't move through the plant. So you're most likely, if you have a big stripe rust problem in your area, you're most likely going to have to spray multiple times for this tough fungal disease.
Well, let's hope you don't have to spray multiple times to control our weed of the week. We'll show you which products would work best the first time, coming up next.